Yo, what is up, everybody? It
What
is,
up? What up?
we are here. It's the Up to It podcast. And yo, today we
Yeah, yeah.
talking about the TikTok man.
Talk about the TikTok man. I think that's what we wanted to jump in on and see what's good. I think we have some different opinions, maybe, maybe not, but also hoping to shed some light a little bit on just different perspectives. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, well, let's just roll the intro and get into it.
Let's do it. You know I love this intro.
One, two, three, four.
Nice.
Yeah.
It gets better every time. It gets like it's nostalgic, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's like a little throwback, but it's like still got, I don't know. I don't know. It makes me laugh and smile, you know what I'm saying? Because we're having a good time. So that's what's up.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. All right, so let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. Congressional Congress hearing revolving around TikTok and the TikTok ban
Ooh.
has been interesting to watch, especially for people my age. I think one of the things that I've noticed on my TikTok feed after hearing about the Congressional Congress is that we find it very comedic. You know, it was very funny to listen to and very I think it was funny, but it's also scary, right? For my people my age, because we were like, yo, some of these questions these people are asking, like they don't really know what they're really asking. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
really? Interesting. Okay, okay, okay.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they don't know, this is a realm that they didn't grow up in. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like with technology and some of the questions that they were asking Mr. Chu, the CEO of TikTok, was kind of absurd and kind of like, really? Did you just ask that question? Like you don't know that answer? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
and I also made I'm speaking on behalf of my generation, right? Which is Gen Z, like
Gen Z, baby.
borderline Gen Z, borderline millennial. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know
right,
where I fall,
right, right,
but um, but they it's kind of makes us scared because these are the people that are running our country, right? And it's kind of we don't mind getting a little bit political on this podcast, but I'm not saying one side's better than the other, but I'm just saying that it's kind of scary that if one of the consensus that I came to is scary because it feels like if they don't understand it, they want it nothing to do with it. And it's
right.
like, well, that's not how we grow, and
Mhm.
that's not how we get better as a nation, as a United States. That's how we stay behind, right?
Oh,
So,
yeah,
what?
definitely. I mean, what's interesting, I mean, you sharing that because I haven't seen any of those to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I just know that they're talking about it, and it's been on the on a docket, if you will, for a couple of years now. But I didn't know they had the congressional. But what I do know, and what you're saying, is funny because when Facebook was brought on trial, if you will, for lack of better words, they it was the same thing when I was watching that with Zuckerberg.
Mm,
The Congress were asking like questions where it's like, what you don't get it, you don't know, and I got to give it to my man Zuckerberg because I know there was definitely a few times he wanted to laugh,
right.
like chuckle, like what the hell are y'all thinking?
Hmm.
So I hear you, and that's what's interesting, right? So one of the things that I like, and maybe you'll support me on this is, you know, I'm always, as I'm getting older and seasoned and
Hmm.
mature, to all the ladies out there, is, is I want to stay relevant. I want to stay connected. I want to stay growing. And
Hmm.
so, you helped me do that through my years, and your sister's helping me do that now. And, you're right. What people don't understand, they fear.
Right.
And so, talk to me a little bit more then about kind of what was being said and where people are with it, you think.
Yeah, I think one question that everybody keeps posting on TikTok and on just throughout all the Instagram feeds, there was one question that was thrown out there. I don't know if it was a representative from Tennessee or Texas, but they were like, "So, Mr. Chu, does TikTok connect to the Wi-Fi?" And Mr. Chu is like, well, he's kind of like, yes. And then the representative was like, well, that's just creepy. That's just weird. Like, and you're just kind of like, what are you? You know what I mean? Like, every app connects to the Wi-Fi. Like, everything connects to the Wi-Fi. And I think another thing that that rubbed us the wrong way just as a generation. I'll speak for my side. I guess my side of the generation. I don't know. I'll just
That's good.
my
That's good. That's
generation as
good.
a whole is
Nothing wrong
that
with that.
they kept saying that he was Chinese. Mr. Chu is not Chinese. He's Singaporean, and they kept trying to relay this message of, well, you're giving our data to China, and he's like, first of all, like I'm from Singapore, like, and they called him like Mr. China, and they call him these antic and these nicknames that are revolved around the Chinese, and he's like, yo, like I'm not even Chinese. Like, what are you talking about? And just the blatant disrespect that was shown from our representatives, the people that are for us, I guess, right?
Right,
Just
right, right.
like I'll speak for me. It rubbed me the wrong way, right? It definitely rubbed me the wrong way. Where it's like, you got this man to come from Singapore to come, and you came to question him, but you didn't even give him a chance to talk, right? You didn't give him a
They
chance
just put them on
to,
blast.
right? They just grilled him, man. They didn't even let him, because they knew that he was articulate enough to tell you that this app has no harm. Like, this app, of course, and people, and the hypocrisy that is within this is that Instagram and Facebook, the only reason why this has gone to trial and to the hearing is because US hasn't made $1 off TikTok. It's not monetized through the US, right? Like, they want to be able to tax this thing, and they want to be able to get money. And what ends up happening is that now everybody's moving away from Instagram and Facebook, and they're now joining TikTok. And Zuck, I love Zuck. You know what he did for us for a little bit, and what he was able to do for technology, the things that he was doing for us here in the United States. Great, awesome. I love that. But now he got mad because now we hurt his pockets. Because now the United States people, the American people, aren't using his platform. Now they're going to a Singaporean platform. And
So you keep saying that. Speak to that real quick as far as so is it true or not true that TikTok is from China?
well, they never gave a chance for Mr. Chu to explain, that this is they have a location. So he even told us that he had headquarters in Los Angeles. He has a headquarters in, I think he also said, they can fact check me, like, they have a HQ in Singapore, but I don't think he ever mentioned that, I think that China has like TikTok has a HQ in China. I don't think he ever mentions that.
Because one of the TikToks that I saw, or maybe an Insta, was showing how we get certain content in the US as far as TikTok is concerned, but what they only allow in China is something totally different. And so the argument was that they're kind of trying to dumb us down and not allow us to necessarily grow, but the people in China and what they see is just uplifting, not uplifting, but even educational
Right.
type of stuff, as opposed to some of the, TikTok's fun. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
Right.
people love it.
Yeah.
I'm not a TikToker per se, because I'm not even used to I'm still trying to get used to just having my face everywhere
Right.
on camera. But so yes, I mean, do you remember anything about that aspect of things or where that lands?
Yeah. And he even talked about it too. The CEO of TikTok was just like, there's rules and regulations in China that doesn't allow certain features to go out. Like, he also mentioned there's third-party moderators that go out, and like they go through, and it varies state by country. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where in China there's strict policies of what can and cannot be shown to their youth. In Singapore, there's strict policy about what can and cannot be shown on the internet to their youth or to their adults, right? And here in America, we don't have strict policy on internet because we're scared to. Well, we don't have strict policy on internet because we don't know how to restrict it. We don't know, and this is probably foreign land for these people.
Right, right, right. So, because I'm looking up right now,
Yeah.
who is the CEO, just to fact check of TikTok, but and where is he from? So, Suzy Chu is a Singaporean businessman, like you said, an entrepreneur who served as the CEO of TikTok since 2021. So he just got there about a year ago. So yeah, I mean, I think it gets a little deep, right? Then, as far as because, all right, so I was talking to your sister about this,
Okay. Yeah. Bring her. Yeah.
and um, she was like, well, they should definitely keep it. She's like, 'cause that's the only fun thing that we have, and it's what we do, and we just make videos. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And she was talking about musically,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and how it kind of maybe the idea birthed out of that. She felt
Hmm.
because of music, and musically didn't make it, I guess. But she was just really like kind of sad that we would want to get rid of TikTok altogether. And I
Right.
was like, I think the concern is that it is Chinese owned by a company called oh dang, I just lost it. Uh,
ByteDance.
ByteDance, out of China. And so what people are concerned about, from my understanding, is the psychological warfare
Okay.
that is being created so that we as Americans do not um, promote ourselves educationally enough. So we will end up basically losing the war psychologically,
Mm-hmm.
because we know that there's um, just battles going on within the internet, and technological warfare.
Right.
Um, then in addition to, right, just the more hands-on fighting, concerned about nuclear weapons and stuff like that. But there is also a psychological thing going on, and that's what I believe and then the data that's being collected, right,
Hmm.
from China, which gives a lot of insight into, again, psychologically, who we are and what we do or don't do, and they
Hmm.
can then manipulate that. I think in addition to that, the other thing people are concerned about is what are, and because we know this, right, through Facebook, or because of Facebook, with the presidential elections, that people are inserting certain information in ways, and now you may not see it, I may not see it, and our listeners may not see it, or one or two of our listeners may see it. It depends upon, and this, the algorithm, right, and
Right.
what you mess with and click on. And if you want to find that dark stuff, which you and I don't mess with,
Right.
um, then you don't see it. Because that's what always trips me out about social media, man, is like people will be telling me things and I'm like, where'd you see that? Like, I mean,
Right.
and it's positive, but I'm
Right.
like, I don't even know. Or like even right now, trying to find, like, parties and things like that.
Yeah.
And even good music. I used to talk to you about this all the time. Was like, man, hey, where are you finding the music now? Like, because when I was coming up, it was MTV, it was BET, and we
Yeah.
were chilling. You know what I'm saying? VH1 hits, and I'd be like, okay, I know all the top hits, but now there's so many different, like, places you can go to get tapped in, and you might miss it. And
Hmm.
so the dark side of this thing, even with Facebook to a certain degree, right,
Right.
is the concern of, I think, the data being collected, and then what people can actually get tapped into, and take them away from, um, basically just going to the dark side, or going against us and our principles, us meaning Americans and our principles. So I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know really where. So I mean, what's your thoughts as far as I mean, what are some of your peers saying then about
Yeah.
TikTok? And are they concerned about their data? Because that's another thing we should talk about. I don't think y'all, geez, Gen Z cares about data and what it means, and they're just like, whatever.
Well, yeah, yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think there's a misconception about like what data is being shared and shown to the Chinese government or whatever, because it's like they're held to the same standard of like you can't. There's only certain things that they're allowed to see on the data side, and that's what Mr. Chu was talking about too with ByteDance. They get the demographic, they get all these other bits of data
Okay.
that it's the same data that Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook and Meta are getting from us. You know what I mean? The only thing that's not happening and why our politicians and our representatives are mad is because they're not able to sell our data anymore because there's not enough data being thrown into Instagram and Facebook that TikTok is able to get our data and sell it and make money the same way that the American people have been being used before. We just chose to use this platform because one, we are able to see more things that are being done under the scrutiny of the United States. The curtain's being drawn back a lot. You know what I mean? Of just
Mm,
what our government actually is, and if anything, about just how flawed we are, and we think that we are this big macho country where we're like, yeah, nobody's effing with us. Like we're here. Like what do you mean? And then the curtain's getting drawn back, and we're noticing that this all smoke and mirrors, dog. Like we
mm,
are just as dysfunctional as a third world country right now. Like, yeah, I know. I bet we don't talk about it often, but I feel like within our own spaces, with our own states, we're in like internal conflict with one another.
mhm.
It seems like we're taking steps back, where people don't want to be they're choosing to be ignorant, right? Where you have the exposure of your technology, there's no excuse now, right, of
Mm,
doing
mhm.
your research and understanding, where back in the day you just had to believe what the news told you, what Fox told you, what CNN told you. But what TikTok did was, hey, this is how you create generational wealth, right? And now, oh no, the Mexican and black folks are learning how to get generational wealth. Oh, this is how you protect yourself from the law, a constitution. You're knowing your constitutional rights, and you have a TikToker that tells you, here's your constitutional rights. And now we're more informed, and Gen Z is being more informed about what police
I see what you're saying.
can and
Mhm.
cannot do, what politicians and representatives are supposed to do, and and even knowing the background of our representatives and what past things have you done in your life to maybe make you a great candidate or to make you not one person that we want to represent, and I think that's why we stand. I can say from Gen Z, from my perspective, me personally, the reason why I like TikTok was because not only can I, and people don't understand that you can alter your algorithm. Like if you're constantly seeking negative stuff, it's because you're constantly liking or engaging in negative stuff.
Viewing.
Like
Mhm, mhm.
you can alter your algorithm to fit your needs and what you want to see. Like if I wanted to be on the far right TikTok, like I can like all the things about Donald Trump, right? And I can see all this stuff about Donald Trump and all these conspiracies. If I wanted to be a lefty liberal and I wanted to be a snowflake and I wanted to see all these things about what's happening on the left side, or if I didn't want to just be neutral, I like both sides. You know what I mean? I want to hear
Right.
what both sides are saying because I think they're equals concerns. But for this standpoint, I think one of the things that I feel is that we need TikTok. It's one of those ones that is super organic. When you talk about businesses and you talk about business owners, podcasters, this is how they get the message out. They find like-minded communities that people like and maybe don't like, and able to engage and interact and learn from each other. And of course, there's a dark side, right? And I think I want to
Right.
talk more about that because the representatives or Congress people kept saying, well, we got to protect our youth. We got to protect our youth. They're seeing all these bad things on TikTok. But the app that is causing the most harm, and
Oh yeah.
we're
Mhm.
in the field. The app that's causing the most harm is an American-based app called Snapchat.
Right.
But
That's true.
why are we so riled up about TikTok when there's youth overdosing, getting their fix from a
The
Snapchat
the
drug
drugs.
dealer?
Yeah.
when minors are being exposed to penises, to vaginas, to pornography through Snapchat. You don't care about the youth. You care about TikTok because you're not getting your money. If you cared
Mhm.
about your youth, what we would be talking about is Snapchat and how easily accessible it is to see those explicit things. Because most
So
of the
true.
drama that happens on our social media pages, and because you've been in the schools and you talk to the SROs, it all starts on Snapchat.
Yep. Yo,
But
true.
nobody wants to talk about that because I don't know. I don't know why we're not talking about
Yeah,
that.
no,
That's
you're right. You're right. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand. I mean, Snapchat is almost like one of those. Well, it's one of the ones that adults don't mess with. I mean,
right.
the majority of them, right, most of the time. And the other thing is, that, and you know this, right, and we're just sharing with the audience just in case some of them don't know, is that those messages delete after a
Right.
certain amount of time. And so a lot of the things that you and I've seen, no, you make a great point. I mean, a lot of the things that you and I've seen through Snapchat and with the police, DEA, high intensity drug trafficking agency show us about that stuff is that these young people are the plugs for the community.
Mm-hmm.
That and the thing that's so crazy, right, is yeah, you're right, man. Is they're able to purchase these substances, drugs,
Yeah.
um, and I was talking to a lawyer, and
Yeah.
they were saying, like, when I was sharing with them, and they haven't been practicing for a while, but they were saying, like, when they were in Chicago, that it was really hard sometimes because the only way that they could, indict somebody for a crime when selling drugs is if they caught them dispersing it, so a hand-to-hand transaction.
Right.
So now what Snapchat has done is there is no hand-to-hand
It's like
transaction.
DoorDash.
Yeah, it's like DoorDash, right? Or it's like, hey, let me hey, just drop that off by the third pole next to the AC unit,
Yep.
by 36 and da 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 da. So
Mm-hmm.
that individual just goes by, throws it out the window, or walks by, drops it, and then the kid, or a young person, tells the parent, "Hey, I'm just gonna go for a walk." You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll
Right.
be right back.
Yeah.
Or if they got a car or a whip, what I'm saying, just go there, whip. I mean, who cares or thinking
Mm.
that they're picking up drugs? Because it's normally like a little, little baggie or a Ziploc
Right.
bag, or it's not like they're delivering pounds and pounds and pounds. So
Yeah.
you're right. You raise a good point though, and like, why are we looking at this one so hard, and what is it then maybe that we're missing?
Mm.
But I think another point that you raise is interesting is about the just where your generation is right now, as far as and the generation behind you,
Yeah.
and knowing and wanting to know, and knowledge is so available,
Right.
but at the same time, what's scary is the misinformation
For sure.
that's out there too that can get caught up in this. And so, like, it's interesting, just you said earlier, right? You're like, y'all can fact check it. So yeah, you got to be fact checking your stuff
Right.
nowadays.
Yeah.
So many things do come across. And then I think the other thing that's dangerous to me, and this might be even like, for students that are going to school, and
Mm-hmm.
is I remember I was doing a presentation just recently, and I was like, hey, just so you all know, TikTok is not necessarily the answer to everything,
Right.
because there's some things where you might look at it, because I know, like, one time, oh, me and Z were talking about this. Uh, excuse me, V, me and
Oh.
V.
Mhm.
I was looking at your
Yeah.
thing. But as she said, I said, hey, I saw this thing on, I think it was Instagram, or I don't know. You know how they bleed in now.
Yeah.
There's one and say, but I was like, hey, have you ever like? I had the Apple iPhone box.
Uh-huh.
Have you seen the one where like there's supposed to be a case, a phone case in the bottom of the box?
Oh no, I
You
never
like
saw that.
cut it open or something like that. And I
Uh-huh.
thought, because I was looking for some I was looking for a cleaning cloth to
Okay.
clean off my, because I thought they used to put those in there, but I couldn't find one. I'm like, man, they starting to cut back too. But I was like, oh, hey, I saw that one thing on TikTok, or was it whatever, Instagram, and it said it's supposed to be a kind of like a free case
Uh-huh.
phone case in the bottom of the box. 'Cause you know how sturdy that box is,
Right.
and stick and hard. And I was like, maybe there is one. So I go and start cutting it open, and I'm looking, and I'm like, "Hey V, did you ever know that there's supposed to be an eye?" She's like, "Yeah, Dad, I already tried that like 2 years ago. Ain't nothing there."
I
I was
already
like,
tried
My
that.
bad." I mean, I had to try though. But so again, misinformation, right? And so I don't
Right.
know if the person, how they,
Just trolling for
yeah,
sure.
you can just mess
Yeah.
around with, video edits and stuff like that. So a lot of times, some people are getting their information from
Right.
TikTok, and that's the thing that sucks, man. It's Instagram, meta
Any
world,
social media.
and
Yeah.
is that a lot of times, things that start out are for good,
Right.
but then people start getting involved in it, all different types of people, and then it ends up getting shifted to something bad. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
and that just reminds me, man, of like, um, it's gonna be in the book that I'm writing, but as you know, you can't have good without bad.
Right.
You can't
Right.
have up without down.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have sunlight without rain. You know what
Right.
I mean? And so that's what like is so disappointing sometimes to me about life
Yeah.
is that you have to have both. And so though and I don't know if you ever ran into this when you were coming up, but
Hmm.
remember like being in class or something like that, and the majority of the class is good, but then there's a couple of knuckleheads in there popping off or whatever, and then the whole class gets in trouble.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a basketball thing. What are you talking about? You talking about 17 suicides, like one knucklehead want to act up and we all running for it? Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, that one cat or two or
Hmm.
three or whatever, but the majority of everybody's good. And so, you know, and again, maybe China is the bad party here. I mean, or not. Again, I don't know enough um to really say, but what I do know is regardless of any of the platforms, especially today, parents need to be monitoring and participating in these things. So I have TikTok, and I don't watch it as frequently as I probably should. But I know, uh, you know, V's moms is paying attention to what she's watching. And so parents need to, I think, do the same also.
Hmm.
Um, no matter what platform it is, because there is some things that can slide through that
Yeah.
might capture their attention negativity. So I think that the other thing for people to consider and remember is that having conversations with your young people, excuse me, in your life, whether you're an aunt, uncle, brother, sister, older brother, sister, mom, dad, Theo, Thea, uh, that you're having conversations just to see how this stuff is hitting them.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, um, and what it is doing to and for them, um, while taking this in. So I think that's really important,
Yeah.
as people are deciding where they side on this whole TikTok thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think one of the things that we I don't know, I think we do as people is we write off our young people as adults. We write off our young ones and say, we're quick to let them know that, oh my gosh, it's not that big of a deal, or oh, it could be worse. You know what I mean? Like all these little nuanced things that you say, like you got to remember, like when you were 14, 13, 11 years old, and when your friend didn't add you into that group chat or didn't invite you over to hang out, how did that make you feel? It made you feel like it was the end of the world, right? Like
Yeah,
some
true.
of these youth, what they're going through when they feel excluded, when they're not in a group chat, when they're getting memed, right? When people are making memes about them, like this is this is their livelihood, right? This is at that age, that's all that matters to them, is wanting to feel like they fit in, right? And if they don't have anybody else to talk to, of course they're going to go to the internet and find somebody else that's going to listen to them, right?
Right.
And they're not
Right.
going to want to talk to you. And people are like, parents, I'm hearing a lot now from millennials don't want to have relationship with their parents because they were never able to open up to their to that parent or guardian about anything that was happening in their lives. And then when they grow up and be adults, the parents wonder, why are you so distant? Why do you want to hang out with us? Why don't you want to spend time with us? And it's like, because you never cared. You never cared when I
Mhm.
was 11. You never cared when I was 16. And now when I'm 25, 26, you want me to be in your life? Like, that's what happens when you don't foster healthy relationships. And it starts as small as being on the apps. I think one of the reasons why me and mom
True.
still have a great relationship is when mom sees a TikTok, she sends me a TikTok. And one of the things that lets me know, like subconsciously, either consciously or subconsciously, is that, oh, this made me, she thought of me when she saw this. Like,
Mm.
and she thought that this would be something that I enjoy, or something that could help me, or something that I would laugh at. And that's what keeps us close and connected, right? And we're able to
Mhm, mhm.
we're not texting on the phone 24/7, but we're exchanging TikToks. And I know that's her way of saying that, her way of connecting, and that's my way
Mhm.
of connecting back with her. And she's meeting me where I'm at, right? Where I don't
That's
want to
true.
talk
Good
on the
point. Good
phone
point.
for 3, 7, 5 days out the week, right? But I will exchange TikToks with you all hours of the day, right? Because that's what I love to do, and that's how we bond. So people are adults are missing an opportunity
Mm.
to reach out and connect with their youth. And I get it. We are all busy as adults. You might have another little one, you might have a dog, you might have somebody who is maybe doesn't have the ability, right? Or maybe has a disability, and you got to, but all those things, you got to make time for the ones that you love, right? We make time for the
It's
people that we
true.
love. We make time for the things that we love. And it shouldn't be any different when it comes to our youth. And that's how we protect our youth. It starts with us, the adults in the room. Like you said, I love how you mentioned that. It doesn't matter if you're a aunt, uncle, grandma, neighbor, community member. Like, that's one of the things that I feel like we're missing, is a sense of community. And when I was talking to some
True.
youth in Bullhead City, um, they mentioned that, I can't talk to an adult because they just make it worse, or they don't know what to say, or they don't know what to do, or they just don't see me, right? And that made me kind of sad, because it's
Mm.
like, as a somebody that was growing up, my neighbors would look out for me too when you were not there, or mom wasn't there, and I was outside playing. Like, you had our neighbor's cell phone number, and they'll be like, "Yo, Zion's acting up," or "Yo, just let you know that Zion just got home," or da da
Mhm.
da, right? And now we kind of develop this community and this sense of identity of where, just focus on yourself, like nothing else
Mm.
matters. And then
Right,
the,
right,
sec-
right.
the second that we focus on something else, is like, oh, why are you talking to my kid, or why are you disciplining my kid? And it's because of those bad apples that have made this world so scary, right, and fearful. But there's actually people here that have great intentions of, oh, you're my neighbor, and that's your kid. I want to make sure that they're safe and we're
True,
safe, and
true, true.
we're looking out for each other. But it seems like we're, as just a collective, we're living in fear of, I don't know what's the fear of, a fear of connection, I think it's the fear of connection. And I think that's something that we got to talk about and address, is that the pandemic actually has a lot to play in that, right? Where
Yeah.
we weren't able to connect a lot. So being isolated is a lot easier. So
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, I like what you said though, as far as connecting with your youth, and sometimes being on the mediums in which they're on, and the way that it is a way to connect, and a way to monitor, also, right?
yeah,
Um,
man.
and have conversations. It's important just to talk. And the other thing I think, to share, and is that your youth will listen to you, or the young people that you care about, if you're talking with them and not at them. um
That's
and
good. I'm glad you brought that up. That's good.
yeah, 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 you got to talk with them, not at them. And you got to make sure that um you're really coming from a place of being able to then listen to them,
Mm-hmm.
right, and hear them, and not be judgmental. And I know it's hard to do as a caring adult in that young person's life, but sometimes it's better not to say anything, and take it in, and then maybe come back to it later and
Mhm.
talk with them about it, but maybe not in that moment, but just kind of take notes because, like you said, a lot of times, probably even with that young man or young person, is when we're talking at them, a lot of times then they don't feel seen, they
Right.
don't feel heard. Um, and so one of the things, like with my dad, he was very quiet a lot of times, even when I made like stupid decisions, he was just kind of very quiet and just would
Oh,
kind
your
of
dad too was like that? No way. My dad was the same way. Wow, that's crazy.
just kind of like a little smirk and just be like, okay, all right, well, and just leave it alone. And
Oh,
then maybe later we would discuss it or whatever. And so yeah, evidently things get passed on, right? So,
yeah,
but yeah, I think with the TikTok thing, I think we need to keep our eye on it and see, and maybe we can come back and do a little update
yeah.
podcast on what ends up happening and what are some. So people, hey, go out there, look up the on TikTok the
Congressional.
congressional hearing and
Yeah,
see some of the clips and see what's going on with that, because this is going to be one of those moments in time where we will remember, and
yeah.
no matter what happens, it's going to be one of those monumental or monumental moments in time,
Hmm.
because it's so big. And then what happens, and we're gonna look back on this and be like, dang, remember when TikTok either
Yeah.
whipped them or crashed or burned?
Mhm.
It's gonna be one of those conversations, right? Just like some people remember MySpace
Ooh,
and
yeah.
uh, oh damn, what was the other one? What was Napster?
Napster.
Napster, like, yeah, and all the musicians came out after them, and then Apple figured out how to do it correctly as far as Apple
Yeah,
Music and stuff like that. But yeah, it's gonna be one of those type moments with this TikTok. So everybody, hey, jump in so you're
for sure.
knowledgeable and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. I think it'll be a great moment. Well, it's a great moment to have a conversation just about this topic in general at home, right? With your youth, ask them if they're listening, ask them what they think, what their thoughts are, right? Like, I think another thing that I know is that we, as adults, we get one track minded and we're like, yeah, okay, this is my way of thinking. And that's how everybody thinks. And I'm still that way. I'm like, oh, you don't. Oh wait, you don't think like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm
Right,
like,
right,
oh,
right,
you
right.
don't feel that way because your youth might not feel the same way that you feel about something. And I think that's the beauty of being human is that we're not all the same, and that they want to share something with you and share some insight with you. That you should allow space for that and allow them to, like Dad said, just being able to just sit there and listen, right? You don't have to give them the answers. I know one of our biggest things as adults, we like to fix things quickly. We want to fix it and tell you how to do it, but sometimes they just need to vent, and sometimes they just need to learn from their mistakes, right? And
Yep,
it's just called the reality is the consequences of reality, right?
yep, yep.
Life is a better teacher, right? Life can teach them better than we can sometimes. So sometimes you
Yeah,
gotta
no doubt. Agreed,
let them feel
100%.
what to say. Yeah.
Exactly. Yo, let's wrap this up, man. Let's thank everybody. Yo, what's up? Appreciate y'all
Yeah.
tapping in and listening and do that thing that you do.
Do that thing that you do. And when he means by that, he means go to Apple Podcasts, go and leave a review for us, because that's how you move up in the rankings. You know what I'm saying? And if you really want to support, and you're like, yo, I love Z and Jamal, I love what they're doing. That's cool. You can love it. Let everybody else know how much you love it too, though. You know what I mean? Don't gatekeep the Up to It podcast. We need it to be out there for every father, caring adult, aunt, and uncle to listen to, so that we can foster a great community here on the Up to It podcast. And like we always say, man, if you wanna leave us a line. I love saying that because it sounds old school. If you want to leave us a line, go ahead and email us at jamalandzion@gmail.com. You can also DM us on Instagram. You can DM us on TikTok. Ironically enough, you can do that, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube at the Up to It podcast and watch these. If you're listening, you can actually see our faces and see we have some great animated faces sometimes when we talk, and yeah, you can definitely see our faces, our happy faces. But with that being said, yo, you have
Oh, but I want to let people know
yes.
that you can connect to the Wi-Fi with this also. So
Yes, you have to connect to the Wi-Fi to listen to us, to listen to our podcast, unfortunately, unless you have data. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, man, we're going to get up out of here. Thank y'all for taking the time out your day to listen to us. You can follow us on Instagram at the Up to It Podcast. You can like us on Facebook at the Up to It Podcast. You can follow us on TikTok at the Up to It Podcast. Everywhere you want to know where Z and Jamal are at the Up to It Podcast. You know
up
what it
to
is.
it. Yes, sir.
So we're going to get up out of here. Y'all have
Thank
a
y'all.
great rest of your evening or morning or your breakfast or lunch. And we appreciate y'all. And we'll see y'all on the next episode.
Peace.